So YouTube right now is a little bit strange because some folks are having problems seeing my videos pop up in their subscriptions, even though I'm uploading videos. So to help you guys out with that real quick, you have the subscription icon right here, and then next to it, there should be a bell. In fact, for all my videos, that should be the case. Subscribe, the bell right next to it. So if you're not subscribed, what you should do, subscribe, then you have the bell, you click on the bell, then you have notifications from King of Lightning, you click on that box right here, then you click on save, obviously. That should help you guys be far more aware of when I'm uploading videos to the channel. Boys and girls, children of all ages, what is up? The king of lightning is here today, bringing you guys and gals Kingdom chapter 505 and 506 review. Now, let me say this first and foremost. I am doing the double chapter review because when I read the chapter last week of 505, I thought to myself, this chapter review is going to be like 4 or 5 minutes. So let me just do a combo for next week's chapter. And here we are today. Now, the Lord of Death, Yotanwa. Bro, like just the wave of morale and momentum and hype is crazy. That continues on to this week's chapter. The Heba tribe, like that's surprising. I'm like, who the Heba clan, the Heba tribe, just blitzing in there head first. They even outran the archers. I was like, what the heck? Like that was impressive, but they couldn't get into Retsubi. In fact, I mean, it was like 10 of them. Even if they did get to Retsubi, they get wiped out. But despite that, like that was pretty cool. Let me backpedal here for the review of chapter 505. Now, in this chapter, when it comes to overall pacing and chapter structure, it's just one part. It's a combo of the Hi Shin unit and the Mountain Tribes up against Retsubi. It is a clash of morale, where it starts off with the men of Retsubi. Even though they're outnumbered, their morale is high. They know that if they can withstand for 2 days, an army from the capital area will come and assist them. But even still, their goal here is to destroy the invaders and so on and so forth. And then later on, it shifts to Yotanwa and how just by seeing her, the Mountain Tribe displayed a much higher morale than even the men in Retsubi. So that was it, really. It's just that one part for the entirety of the chapter. We don't shift any of the parts in the chapter. That's the pacing of the chapter structure. Next, we have characterization. Only Yotanwa. That's it. We all know that Yotanwa is a very powerful woman, a very influential person. She is a general among generals. In all honesty, I think that she is a general worthy of becoming a 6th general. I believe that, honestly, wholeheartedly. But when it comes to characterization, it also ties into the world of Kingdom. A world that we don't see that often. But we did see initially in like the first part of the series, which is the Mountain Tribe area. Now, granted, we don't see, I would say like 99.9% of the battles that actually occur in the mountain areas. But that's how in the plains areas where you have Zhao, you have Quinn, you have Wei and Han and so on and so forth, and then they wage their own wars and have their own history. The Mountain Tribe areas have their own history, have their own wars and so on and so forth. And Yotanwa, at least in like the mountain areas that are around Quinn and Zhao, I don't know if that applies to like the Chu areas or even in like the Yan areas. I don't think that's the case. But in the western mountain areas, let's say northwestern mountain areas, Yotanwa is the indisputable dominable force. And when you have the battle cry, just by seeing her, all these mountain tribes, like 100 some odd mountain tribes, some of them have a history of war spanning for centuries. And just by seeing her, the morale is sky high. They're shouting over the cats at Retsubi. And mind you, Retsubi, they're defending their nation. Like they understand that they are the gatekeepers to the capital area. And yet still the mountain tribes yelling, just the ground itself was literally vibrating from the yell, from the morale. It's shocking Ten, it's shocking Boten, it's shocking Shin. Like, whoa. Like these are the mountain tribes. This is the queen of the mountain tribes. Even though her tactics were like clear cut and simple, like all you gotta do is climb over the wall, take over an area or so, you climb down, you open the gates, and the story. That's simple. And on paper, yeah, it's simple, but Ten and Shin, they've been through enough sieges where it's kind of like, there's more to it than that, even though that is the gist of it. But the fact that all she needs to do is just challenge enemies head on is a testament to the ferocity of the journey that we haven't seen. The journey of her conquest through the northwestern mountain areas, where she is the indisputable queen, where she is the indisputable #1, the Lord of Death, where even clans that have a history of warfare spanning for centuries can get behind her with absolute loyalty. So once again, for characterization, it's only Yotanwa, and it comes in the form of us understanding her caliber as a leader, and it also gives you some insight on the conquest that has taken place within the mountain areas by Yotanwa. Finally, we have the story progression for that chapter, and for story progression, it's just the start of the actual battle between the combination of the Hi Shin unit and the mountain tribes against Retsubi. And they charge in there after the morale of the mountain tribes overcomes the morale of the men of Retsubi. And the Hi Shin unit, they're going to be on the back lines until the gates open, and they charge in there and they do their thing. The rest of the main army is just watching this take place. And that's it, folks. That is the review for chapter 505. It's relatively short. But now, for this video, we have chapter 506. So first of all, when it comes to pacing and structure for this chapter, the latest chapter, you have the siege of Retsubi by the mountain tribes. Then we shift over to Ohon. And Ohon and Kanjo, they're making their way to where the main army is, to see mainly the Hi Shin unit in action. Because of course Ohon and Shin, they're rivals, so he wants to see how far his rival has progressed, obviously. Though, Yotawa did make the claim that they would be able to take over Retsubi in half a day's time. So I don't think Ohon will actually reach the main army in time, reach the area in time, where he can see the Hi Shin unit in action if Yotawa's estimates are correct when it comes to half a day. It may take an entire day, and if that's the case, then Ohon may actually be there. But if it's half a day, then he'll miss it. But those are the two parts. Because after Ohon, we go back to the mountain tribe siege against Retsubi. And that's it for the overall pacing. It's those two parts, and one part is separated into two parts. Next, we have characterization. We have some for Ohon in the form of Ohon actually like wanting to see what his rival has accomplished over these, like, I think it was like 2 years. I forgot how much time actually passed when Hi Shin unit started training and how they are now. I forgot how much time actually passed. But Ohon wants to see how his rival is doing. Like, even though Ohon doesn't like Shin, and kind of does respect Shin, and does he respect Shin, and he won't say it, but that's what it is. He respects Shin, and because he respects Shin, he wants to see how far his rival has progressed, how his unit has progressed. Number 2 is for, of course, Yotanwa, where we get to see more of a characterization in the form of her leadership, where in this sense, you have the Hiba clan, and they like blitz in there at the beginning of the chapter. Most of the army like charges in there, and the men of Zhao, they're going back into Retsubi. But then we have like these 10 or 20 guys called the Hiba clan, the Flying Horse clan, dive in there at extraordinary speed. So fast to where when the archers actually fire their arrows, like they normally do upon an oncoming army, most of the Hiba clan outrun the arrows, except for like one guy who gets caught in the back. And then so these guys, they blitz in. There are stragglers of Zhao that are still trying to get inside Retsubi, but the head commander closed the gates, leave these guys to die. And then a few of the Hiba clan, they slam into the gates of Retsubi, and then now the archers are firing down upon them, but we see some use horses as shields as they lay there. So there's this one guy called Ramuji, one of Yotanwa's lieutenants, or generals, whatever. And he says how on this day we have seen the courage of the Hiba clan, we have taken lives, that kind of stuff. So it was like basically, here are the Hiba clan, they charged in there, they got some kills, and now they're probably gonna be wiped out because we have the Zhao archers above them firing their arrows. And then Yotan was like, never mind them, that's how we do things. And the Mountain Tribe army have seen the courage of the Hiba clan, and so they will not be forgotten. And then later on in the chapter, we see her like surveying the city as it's being sieged. He has found some type of weak point, and now she's gonna send over Baggio and the Choka clan, and they're a clan of archers. So even though her tactics in nature are simple, She's able to pinpoint weak points. We're getting some characterization for Yotanwa and how she runs her army, as well as get some of that in the previous chapter. Finally, we have the story progression where the charge initiates. Some men of Zhao have been killed, but the gates are closed. The siege begins. Ohon and some of his unit are going to be now going ahead of the rest of the unit so they can see what's going on with Hi Shin unit and with the mountain tribes, mainly the Hi Shin unit. The main army of Ocean Company are still in the back lines. Watch this all unfold. And now we have Yotanwa request archers from the Hi Shin unit. And of course, that means the Bow Brothers. So the Bow Brothers are getting some early play here. Now, whether or not they're going to be as effective as we think they will be, understand this is going to be their first battle, because we've seen some of the new cats in the Hi Shin unit. They're watching this battle unfold. We have cats that are throwing up, like, oh my god, I can't handle this right now. So there gonna be some new cats like that are of course afraid, because like, oh shit, like this is real, like people are dying in waves, and we're gonna be going in there once the gates open, fighting to the death with these people that want to defend their nation. So a lot of the new guys are terrified, and the Bow Brothers are no exception. The younger brother, the bigger dude, he's like, nee, like we really shouldn't have come to the battlefield. And then the older guy, the shorter guy, the guy with like the fang teeth, he's like, no, but you were the one that wanted to come here first. And they're both shaken. So even though they're archers, and in this sense, they're going to be far away from the combat, technically, the fact of the matter is that they're going to be taking people's lives. And on top of that, if they mess up, like majorly, then they could die. So it's like, this is war. This is war. Here we are. We made our bed, now we gotta lie in it. Whether or not they're gonna be as effective as we think they will be, meaning like, I'm assuming like Legolas here, just arrow, notch, boom, 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 just like headshots for days. Oh, like there's a commander, boom, shoot an arrow through like 15 dudes and hit him right in the forehead. Crazy. But they have to first overcome hurdles that every new soldier has to overcome. And how that plays out, we'll have to wait and see. So that being said, folks, these two chapters of Kingdom. The first chapter is, honest to God, a really simple, straightforward chapter. When it comes to the battle morale, it's hype, it's crazy, but the chapter is, at its root, foundationally, it is extraordinarily simple, but it is crazy hype. So I'm going to say that that chapter overall is a good plus chapter. Normally, I'd give it a higher rating if the chapter just had more substance. But again, it's just a very, very, very simple, straightforward chapter. With characterization, yes. But story progression-wise, not much there. Pacing-wise, it was just a one scene through and through. And again, it all boils down to a simple match of morale, which is not really simple considering how it affects the men and their performance. At the same time, that's what it was. So I'm going to say it's a good plus chapter. Again, I would normally give it a higher rating, but because of the simplicity of the chapter, we'll go for a good plus, and that's it. Now, when it comes to chapter 506, I'm going to give it a higher rating. That chapter, I thought, was a great chapter, because not only do you have stuff for Ohon as well as Yotanwa, but also you have more story progression. Even though Yotanwa doesn't get as much characterization in this week's chapter than the previous week's chapter, you have more story progression. And on top of that, the chapter structure, not necessarily the pacing, but the chapter structure was better. So I'm going to say that this chapter was a great chapter. That's it, I'm done. And also, let's knock on the fact that last week's chapter was also mainly a setup chapter for this week's chapter. So, once again, chapter 506 is going to be a great. Chapter 505 is going to be a good plus. And I will see you guys and gals later. So, of course, King of Lightning, rate the video, comment, and subscribe as always. Peace. Have a nice goddamn day.